Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
It's us
Ramping
again.
up for the holidays, July
Y-
4th weekend.
yes, yes. A long weekend for many of us, long week for some of us as well. So,
Yes,
we're going to jump into the importance of customer discovery insights. They are actually absolutely invaluable, but many of you know you have to go beyond what people say. And what a lot of us have heard throughout our careers is to also look at what they do.
right.
But we want to take that conversation a step further and ensure that you're also understanding the underlying or root cause aspects of what they say and do, and that you're aligning all of that with your strategic priorities, because it's not just about um, you're running a business, you're providing a service, you're implementing or executing a program. So
Mhm.
there are outcomes that are expected, and so you have your strategic priorities that also have to be considered in that. And so first, let's talk about that whole area of people say things and you can't just go for what you hear or just what's on the surface.
Yeah, exactly. It's always a balance. Sometimes and I know we all say you can't just do what the customer says all the time, but then if you look at priority lists, quite frequently it is not only what they say, it might even be based on one customer, two customers.
Hmm.
And it's not to say that's not valuable, it's extremely valuable, but people don't always know what the problem is. So, with customers, and I know they don't, or they don't know how to express, what
Yeah,
they're experiencing. So you really do have to dig. There is a balance, what they're saying, doing digging into that. So you're actually
right.
kind of at least a light analysis of what they're saying to get to the root cause of the problem, because sometimes it's not what they say the
Right.
issue is. So I know we have lots of examples of that where people are, for instance, using an application and they're complaining about some lack of features that they really want, where in reality it might be it's not the features, it's your interface is not intuitive,
Right.
so they feel like, oh, we must need new features here, but really it goes to the usability of your application, yeah, and the way they work. So it it is a fine balance
It
with
is.
doing that analysis, and you do have to do that analysis in different ways. One, usually the space better than your customers do, but your application or your service, so that you can dig into that a little more and really get down to that root cause of what the issue is. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
going to be exactly what they said it is. Other times, it's not, and there's an underlying issue that's not the specific thing they're calling out.
And as you say that, it speaks to the need to ask why multiple times, to
Yes.
understand or to probe around their mental model in their context. So,
Yep.
do they fully appreciate and understand the space in which your solution lives, and do they really understand your product or service in that context? So
Right.
you've got to ask the right questions to not only look at what's on the surface and say, what do you think of this? Or how do you use that? What are your impressions? You've got to go a little bit deeper and ask questions that might seem like they're going off on a tangent, but they're questions that are helping you to validate or understand how well they comprehend, how well they navigate that particular space and your solution in that space.
Yes.
Um, and that's where you have to then look at, okay, did we get it? Did they articulate, to your point, did they articulate exactly what is wrong and what needs to be addressed or what needs to be included in the solution? Or is it something a bit different? Once you ask those why questions and their
Right.
context questions, then you want to say to yourself, okay, now that we fully appreciate what they're really struggling with or what they really need, can we align that to our strategic business priorities and say that it lines up with what we actually offer as a product or service and that we can incorporate that into our requirements?
Yes, exactly. And I really think it opens up the doors to innovation as well. So, you
Hmm.
know, people tell you they're having issues, whatever their complaints to support are, or in your usability test. If you really pay attention to, you know, doing that kind of root cause analysis, what is
Hmm.
going on? What is their mental model? You know, the people can express their mental model. You need to kind of use your skills to dig into that through questioning or based on work you've already done, and understand that model. But once you do understand that root cause, I really believe some of the most innovative features or programs I've worked on have all been about digging beneath the surface and
Hmm.
really understanding what's going on, because a lot of times you can really come up with innovative solutions to those problems because you have a deeper understanding of what's going on. And I
Hmm.
know I've used that invoice example a lot, but that was one where the only thing people knew to express was, I just need something to track my time, and I need to put that on an invoice. And you know, that was the easy thing, the most conspicuous problem for the user. But you know, if you dug deeper, the real issue was there's chaos around that. You know,
Hmm.
there are a lot of players involved in that, and there are a lot of processes involved, in even getting that invoice out. So the real problem was something very different, and it did lead to a very innovative solution, which was, you know, people aren't entering their time even when we give them the feature they begged for a year. Still had a problem, right? But they didn't know how to express it. And what the problem was, there were too many players, and not keeping track of time because too much going on. So you needed a different kind of solution, a more automated time tracking solution.
That's a really good example because what's coming from your user in that discovery work is the goal that they have in mind. And this is where you look at jobs to be done and other frameworks where you've got to back out of that goal to understand what is going on, what are they trying to do. And sometimes it's not only about the job, it's also about some of those underlying motivations that they have in
Yes.
the context of that job. And you now have to line all of that up with your strategic priorities as a business to ensure that what you are trying to solve in the context of achieving that goal aligns back to your business. But to your point, where can we innovate in that process to do
Right.
things what might be different than what we've normally done as a business, but that still falls within our wheelhouse? How can we do those things and help our customers achieve their goals? And this is why it's so important to talk to all the different stakeholders. And by stakeholders, I mean customer types. So you
Yes.
have your end user, they might have a customer or client on the other side. There might be, like you said, different people involved within that, your customer's ecosystem. So you've
Yeah.
got to understand all of those different stakeholders in order to ensure that you, A, understand their goals, but then can unpack what those goals mean in terms of their true motivation and context. And do they really understand how our solution fits within that space in order to innovate?
And that's a good one too. Do they understand that? And that goes back to something we pointed out early on. Is it they don't understand
Hmm.
because you haven't you've got other usability issues. Things aren't intuitive. They're not flowing correctly. So people don't understand your solution and they think something's missing. And I think that is a very, very common problem, especially with some of the complex applications and services even that are out there, that people just they don't understand. They think something's missing, and really, it's not. It's just your application's not intuitive. Things aren't
Correct.
surfaced in the right place. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
And
never
that,
forget your innovate your other strategies. More of your strategic initiatives, innovative initiatives you have. You can't forget those. And I know we're probably going to roll into that topic, but you can't go just with what people are reporting when you have other things down the pipeline. You also have to prioritize. And I think in the world of AI today, that's a great example of that as well, that you can't eliminate those needs. Did you freeze on me, Kenya? Okay, well, I think Kenya has I think she's not playing a trick on me. She's done that before. So I might have to wrap it up for her unless she comes back. So can you hear me? Nope, it's just me, and I'm not even sure. I think we're still streaming. So again, I think the next piece we were going to go into was don't forget those strategic, innovative priorities, where those kind of fall by the wayside because you're focused on everything a customer's saying through usability sessions, support tickets, whatever it may be. I think that was the last piece we were going to touch on was, oh, there you are, Kenya.
I ended this. Oh, is it still going? Okay,
I think
perfect.
so. I kept
Perfect.
talking. I said, okay, I don't think she's playing a trick
And,
on
and
me.
I kept talking too, so
For
keep
the
it going.
audience, she has done that to me before, frozen.
Yeah, so keep going with whatever you were saying. Keep it
I
going.
I was going into what trying to get ahead of where I thought you were going to go next, which is never you have to keep those strategic initiatives at the forefront as well. So don't forget those kind of things. And I lost you again, Kenya. Those are important, and a lot of times some of those initiatives are actually going to kind of change that flow or change the features in your product anyway. AI is a great example where we have a lot of projects lately where we're hearing we're getting feedback from end users about certain aspects of needing features or things being difficult, not intuitive. Development runs and they're making changes when really product management already has high priority on the roadmap some machine learning, some AI type of features that would eliminate a lot of that feedback you're getting. So it goes back to that balance. What are those initiatives? What do customers say versus what's really going on? And I think since Kenya's gone, the end thing I would say is you really have to do that root cause analysis with a lot of things to understand what's really going on with the customer, with their experience. You've got to consider the context, their mental models, as they're giving you that feedback, what they're saying. And then lastly, never drop some of those really important strategic initiatives. They have to also be in play when you're prioritizing things, and how might some of those initiatives eliminate or at least soften some of the feedback from customers, and how does some of that feedback fall into some of those more strategic initiatives. So I will leave it at that. Everyone have a great 4th of July, and Kenya, if you watch this later, have a great weekend or week wherever you are right now. Bye.